Good evening to you folks online. Welcome to this somber service of Good Friday. We'll begin in just a few moments. Just a couple of announcements. Please note you are all invited to join us online for our triumphant Easter service. That will be Sunday at 10 a.m. on this very same YouTube link. If you have not yet done so in picking up palm crosses, we do still have some available. We will have those outside in the parking lot beginning at 9 o'clock on Easter Sunday morning. We'll run to roughly, I don't know, maybe 11:30, possibly noon. So you'll have plenty of time to pick them up. Please pick them up and give them to your family and friends to commemorate this Holy Week. Maestro Bob, better known as the Piano Man, will set the mood for us, and then we'll begin our solemn Tenebrae service. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Blessed be the name of the Lord our God, who redeems us from sin and death. For us and for our salvation, Christ became obedient unto death, even death on a cross, the shadow of betrayal. When it was evening, he took his place with the 12. While they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." They became greatly distressed, began to say to him one after another, "Surely not I, Lord." He answered, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that one not to have been born." Judas, who betrayed him, said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." He replied, "You have said so." the shadow of the agony of spirit and the rest. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, "I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here. Stay awake with me." Going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want." Then he came to the disciples. He found them sleeping, and he said to Peter, "So could you not stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again he went away for a second time and prayed, "My Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." Again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed for the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? See, the hour is at hand. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up. Let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." And while he was speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them this sign: "This is the man. Arrest him." At once he came up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus said to him, "Friend, what you are here to do." Then they came, laid hands on Jesus, and arrested him. Peter's denial of Jesus. Now Peter was sitting outside, but he denied it before all of them, saying, "I do not know what you are talking about." When he went out on the porch, another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, This man was with Jesus of Nazareth. Again, he denied it with an oath. I do not know the man. After a little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, surely you are also one of them. Your accent betrays you. Then he began to curse. He swore an oath. I do not know the man. At that moment, the cock crowed. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had said. Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly. The shadow of accusation. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, are you king of the Jews? Jesus said, you say so. But when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, you hear how many accusations they make against you? But he gave him no answer, not even to a single charge. So the governor was greatly amazed. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to them, whom do you want me to release for you? Jesus Barabbas, or Jesus, who was called the Messiah? For he realized that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, have nothing to do with that innocent man. For today I have suffered a great deal because of a dream about him. Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus killed. The governor said to them, which of these 2 do you want me to release for you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, then what should I do with this Jesus, who is called the Messiah? All of them said, let him be crucified. Then he asked, why? What evil has he done? But they shouted all the more, let him be crucified. So when Pilate saw that he could do nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took some water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves. Then the people as a whole answered, his blood be on us and all our children. So he released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the governor's headquarters. They gathered the whole cohort around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. After twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on his head. They put a reed in his right hand and knelt before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, hail, King of the Jews." The shadow of crucifixion and humiliation. After mocking him, they stripped him of the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to be crucified. As they went out, they came upon a man from Cyrene named Simon. They compelled this man to carry his cross. When they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they offered him wine to drink mixed with gall, but when he tasted it, he would not drink it. When they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head they put the charges against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then 2 bandits were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priests also, along with scribes and elders, were mocking him, saying, "He saved others. He can't save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now, and we'll believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God deliver him now if he wants to. For he said, 'I am God's son.'" the shadow of death. From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, this man is calling for Elijah. And once one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink. Others said, wait, let us see if Elijah comes to save him. Then Jesus cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks were split. The tombs also were open, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. After his resurrection, they came out of the tombs and entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now when the centurion and those with him who were keeping watch over Jesus saw the earthquake and what took place, they were terrified. They said, truly, this man was God's Son. When it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who was also a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked for the body, laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn in the rock. He then rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb, and he went away. reflect, contemplate, meditate on the sacrifice of the Lord Jesus Christ. Let the Spirit speak to you this night, that he may tell each of us what we must do to be better servants of Christ the Lord. And may Jesus Christ, who for your sakes became obedient unto death, even death on a cross, keep you, strengthen you, now and forevermore. Amen.